So here I'm going to show you exactly how I pull comps. So the first thing I do, I'm going to just pull this random property. This is one that I just closed on for purchase last week. And so pull this over here. And so I'm buying this property. I bought it for 182. But the way that I would pull comps is I go to the Zillow site. And so I click, this is the landing page. It doesn't have much. Here's the Zestimate. I wouldn't count too much on the Zestimate. The Zestimate is really just an algorithm. It doesn't take into account condition nor a ton of other factors. I say it's typically plus or minus 10% of this. So I'm going to go back to search and then make sure that you click this sold button, and then make sure, if I like to just limit it to houses and townhouses. If obviously if you're comping out condos or land, you'd check those. And then this one's really important. So in this more section, if you scroll all the way down, sold in the last, start with 6 months. Again, you want to start as narrow, as tight as possible, because then it'll allow you to expand, but you're going to be able to find the best possible comp there is. So I'm going to click search. When you click back to search from the property listing, it centers on the property. So if I zoom all the way in, this is where the property is going to be. So you can see it's this property right here, 272. I'm going to zoom out a little bit and then find some comps. If you wanted to add the bed and bathroom count, you could too. These yellow ones are recently sold. So they're sold within the last 6 months. And so you could automatically see that there's already some in here. So I'm going to click on one. So the subject property, and again, I'm going to pull this up just so that you could see. Subject property is a 3/2/1890. So this one is a 3/2/1316, and it sold for 250. And I'm going to see what type of condition was this property in. It's nothing crazy nice, but it's nice. Yeah, I mean, like, it has the tile floor, it has the carpet in the room, so it's nothing out of this world. So that's a solid comp. I'm going to look at this one, 290. Why? So again, this is in the same neighborhood. If someone paid 290 for this property, then it's most likely that someone might pay around 290 for the subject property that we're looking at, 178 Highview. And so when I click on this one, you could see that the interior is way more renovated. You have the nice wood flooring, you have the updated fixtures, you obviously have the clean paint. You could see why someone paid more than the other one, because of the level of rehab. And then I'm going to look at this last one. This is a 4/2/1643. So, and I'm going to just look at the style, the condition of this property. So this one has carpet. It has that fourth bedroom, which is why it probably sold 260 plus. But I mean, not overly nice like that other one. I would say it's even worse than the first one, but it sold more. So I'm guessing that fourth bedroom is important. But you don't have stainless steel appliances. You have that stainless steel fridge, but it doesn't match. There's no judgment. You want the market to tell you what you should do. So I just bought this property. And so what I'm planning on doing is adding a fourth bedroom. So it has the space. I'm literally just closing off one room. And then I'm going for not this style of rehab. I will probably do more of the first one or the second one and not do this 291. Just because for me, speed is important. I could do something like this in about a week, whereas this would take me maybe a month and a half. By the time I order everything, get the new cabinets in there, update the bathroom, like, it just is more work. And so I might be able to sell it for more, but the time and kind of just parking my money and kind of waiting out the market outside of summer, I would rather leave a little bit on the table and then be able to sell it quickly. And so one thing that I do want to make note is that I use the comps as the blueprint for the design. And so if I did want to get 290 for the property that I purchased, I would literally look at this project and I would say, okay, so this is kind of like a light teal, light green. I would use something similar to this. And then I would look at the kitchen. Okay, they went with a gray cabinet on the bottom with a white up top. Like, I would just use this as the blueprint for your project. You know that someone paid 290 for this project, then you most likely will find someone to pay 290 for a very similar project. And so it obviously, you don't know everything about it, but you could tell the style, the type of quality of materials that they use. Like, they didn't use cheap stuff. They use a nice backsplash tile. They use the nice stainless faucet. Like, and so use comps to give you the information of what type of rehab you need to do. If you are just wanting to sell it for 260, it looks like in this neighborhood, you probably don't need to do much. I mean, again, This is the original bathroom. This is the original kitchen, and it's still sold for 260. And so it just depends on what strategy you want to go towards, but that is how you pull comps. Say there is nothing within 30 days. I would want to just zoom out until I found something that I did. So 90 days, 30 days is really tough. I mean, that's not much. Typically 90 days you'll find. But what I'm getting at is that within this kind of small section of maybe, the same neighborhood, if you still can't find a good comp, zoom out a little bit. Okay, what's this over here? Well, let me see. Okay, a 3-2, about 1,500 square feet, sold for 295. Which again, the other one sold for 290. This looks like a bigger yard. I mean, it has a garage. Like it's a different comp, so it's not. I don't think that the subject property would get 295, but at least it's giving you more information. So again, start as narrow, only expand if you need to, and use other comps to justify the rehab that you do on yours. So let's hop back into the other video.